This video is going to teach you how to properly track macros using MyFitnessPal. We're going to go over 3 different focus areas: nutrition labels, the food scale, and using the app. A couple things I want you to keep in mind is that this is simply an estimation. Don't try to be perfect with your numbers. You do not need to get every single macronutrient absolutely perfect. It's an estimation, and it's trying to get as close as possible to those estimations every single day. Okay, so number 1, understanding nutrition labels. Referencing your nutrition guide, you'll understand that calories can be broken down into 3 sub-macro groups. So your proteins, carbs, and your fats. There are 4 calories per 1 gram of carb, there are 4 calories per 1 gram of protein, and there are 9 calories per gram of fat. In this information, we know that fat is the most dense macronutrient. That's why it's so easy to go over comparing to carbs and proteins. Now we're gonna actually go through some nutrition labels together. We'll kind of take a look at the differences in all of them. First, we're gonna go over the protein bar. When you look at this protein bar, the serving size is the whole bar, right? So this entire protein bar is 200 calories. The main things you want to focus on are the proteins, carbs, and fats. So 200 calories total, 7 grams of fat, 20 grams of carb, and 20 grams of protein. So when you track this into MyFitnessPal, you're going to look up Barbell's protein bars, and you should get something similar in terms of 200 calories, 7 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. You can add something else, like this bag of chips. I look at this and be like, oh wow, this whole bag is only 140 calories. Wrong. Look at the serving sizes, and this is really, really important. So serving size is about 13 chips or 28 grams. When you measure this out, you're going to realize that serving sizes are a lot smaller than you actually think. That's why it's kind of important to measure things out so that you draw awareness into your portion sizes. 7 grams per container, about 13 chips. So there's about, I don't know what the math is, 7 times 28 grams of chips in here. Per serving, 13 chips is 140 calories, 8 grams of fat, 17 grams of carbs, and 2 grams of protein. That's per serving. So when you add this, you need to make sure that you measure out how many servings you're actually eating, and then add that into MyFitnessPal. And lastly, to cover just something like protein, chicken breast, right here, 4 ounces. Total grams of fat per 4 ounces is 8 grams of fat, 0 grams of carbs, and 24 grams of protein. That's per 4 ounces. Typically, the rule of thumb with meats is that you always want to measure it before you cook it. You just need to make sure that you're consistent. I prefer you always track your meats and your proteins before you cook them. The second area of focus is the food scale. Buy a food scale, really cheap. You can get one at Walmart, you can get one off Amazon for like 20 bucks. Doesn't matter which one you get. All the food scales are the same. So do not fixate on getting the highest quality food scale. Whatever you get is fine. Always want to typically measure things in grams. It's a little bit more accurate that way. You can measure in ounces, but as long as you're consistent, that's all that matters. You obviously want to make sure that you always zero out your scale. So if you're adding food to a plate, you don't want to, put it on and then put the plate on and then put the food on. You want to put it on with the plate. You're going to zero out the scale and then putting on your food and measuring that out. If you're measuring something like peanut butter or something out of a container, it's a lot easier to just put the container on first, like this, zero it out, and then take out what you are measuring. So the serving size here is 32 grams. I would just take out 32 grams. That's 1 serving size. The more you use the scale, the more familiar you're going to become with portion sizing. So it's going to draw great awareness into what 50 grams of protein from chicken looks like, what 14 grams of fat from peanut butter looks like. It's going to help you draw awareness into what the actual amounts are, and this is going to eventually lead you to intuitive eating, which is the ultimate goal, and being able to eat on the go without having to track everything super metrically close. The rule of thumb for portion sizing is always getting anywhere from 1 to 2 palm-sized portions of protein per meal, a cupful of carbs, and then a fistful of veggies, and like a thumb-sized portion of fats. We're going to go into the bulk of this video, which is actually using MyFitnessPal. So don't need the paid version. Long ago, before they put the scanning feature behind a paid wall, you were able to scan your foods, without having to buy the premium feature, but you don't need it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of understand where everything is. So this is your dashboard. You can click this top part, and this brings up your daily nutrition. So your calories, your nutrients, and your macros. You can at percentages. You can always look at your nutrients as well in here. So the first thing I want you to do is go into your goals. So you're gonna go to the bottom right tab, hit more, you're gonna hit goals. You can put your starting weight, your current weight, and your goal weight. This is not super important. A caveat I want you to remember is that don't listen to MyFitnessPal's recommendations, whether it's saying you need to do this or that for your calories. I am your coach. I will advise you whether or not we need to change your macros. What I want you to do is enter in your calories, carbs, proteins, and fats. So you're going to get this information from me. So this is under nutrition goals, this top tab right here. You're going to click this. You're going to enter in whatever I tell you. So for this example, let's just do 2500 calories, It's going to put it in there, and then I will give you your proteins, carbs, and fats, and you are going to have to play around with these percentages as best as possible to add up to 100%. So 250 carbs, 188 protein, and 83 grams of fat is the macro breakdown for the calories in MyFitnessPal. The numbers don't have to be exact, but they have to be as close as possible. When it comes to logging food, I will say the more you use this app, the easier it's going to get. It's going to keep remembering your foods, it's going to remember your meals, it's going to remember your recipes. So the more you play with this app, the more you use it, the easier it's going to get over time. Let's say we want to add a food. So we're going to search the bottom part here. Again, you can scan the barcode if you want to pay, $80 a year for it, which I don't think is that bad. Makes it super convenient and a lot easier, and there's no ads. I want to log this protein bar, right? So we're going to search Barbell protein bar. And see what comes up. So this is the cookies and cream protein bar flavor. All of these options are things that people input. This one looks good. 200 calories, 7 grams of fat, 20 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. So this is the exact bar in MyFitnessPal right here. So you want to select your meal. Let's say we had it for breakfast. Just make sure that it's as close as possible to the actual nutrition label and hit done. Food logged. Now let's say you want to log, a meal or something like that. So we're gonna create a meal. Let's say we're gonna create the breakfast item. So let's do like a yogurt parfait bowl, which is typically I do strawberries, yogurt, and some granola. So you're going to My Meals, you're gonna create a meal. Now you're gonna name your meal whatever you want. Let's do yogurt bowl. And it's gonna prompt you to add items to this meal. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna add the foods. So let's search up strawberries first. The green check marks mean that it's verified by the app. Everything else in here is listed and things that people have entered in themselves. You want to get as close as possible to whatever your nutrition label says. Because this is a fruit, it's not super imperative that I match any label, but I'm gonna do this green check mark because it's verified. So let's do maybe half a cup. Let's do like a whole cup. So we're gonna do 2 serving sizes because 0.5 is 1. So 1 cup of strawberries is 12 grams of carbs and 1 gram of protein. Good, so we're gonna add that. Perfect. Now we're gonna add our yogurt. Typically I eat the Oikos 000s. You're gonna look for these. Now, there's so many different options in here, right? Which one do you think is right? Doesn't really matter. I know off the top of my head that a 000 is 90 calories and around 15 grams of protein, 7 grams of carbs, and 0 grams of fat. Look at your nutrition label and compare it. So make sure that you are comparing the two consistently. I know that off the top of my head, this is the right one, even though it does not have the green check mark. But again, it's super important that you look at the nutrition label and you compare what it says. So we'll add this one in. We're only doing 1. Lastly, we're gonna do some granola. So I typically eat Nature Valley protein granola. So we'll search for that. And it comes up, so it's verified in here. So we're gonna do half a cup protein granola, 32 grams of carbs, 4 grams of fat, 10 grams of protein. Boom, done. So now we are done with our meal. We're gonna go back. This is our meal. You can even add a photo if you want. Total for the meal is 50 grams of carbs, 5 grams of fat, and 26 grams of protein. These are the ingredients listed out, and you're gonna hit save. Once you save it, you can now go into here, and you're gonna look under My Meals, and look, there it is, yogurt bowl. This is the same exact thing that we get. So now, when you eat this every single day, you can just go in here, click that, and it's there for you every single day. That's why I'm saying the more you use this app, the easier it's gonna be to log because everything's gonna be in here for you. So that's how to make a meal, that's really easy for meal prep, or if you just eat the same things every single day. What happens if you're like eating out? You wanna kind of be prepared for those things. So if you search like fast food items, like we can even search like, let's see, Chick-fil-A. There's things in here, right? So let's say I was having a spicy chicken sandwich because I love spicy chicken sandwiches. It's right here, spicy chicken sandwich. One sandwich is 45 grams of carbs, 21 grams of fat, and 30 grams of protein. Boom, done. Let's say you want to go to Uncle Julio's and get, carnitas tacos or something like that. So let's look up Uncle Julio's. There's so many different things in here, right? You're like, holy crap, none of them are green. I don't know which one to do. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna go into Google. You're gonna look up the menu. So you're gonna search Uncle Julio's Nutrition. It's gonna pop up. Now you have the menu, right? You're gonna kind of go through the menu and look for the option. This is gonna take you like 2 minutes tops. Here we go, look, right here. Carnitas tacos, okay? So we're gonna go over, we're gonna look and see how many calories does this have. So 821 calories, whoa. That's what it has. So let's go back to MyFitnessPal and see if we see one for 821 calories. 821, bingo, here it is, okay. 821 calories, 95 grams carbs, 31 grams of fat, and 48 grams of protein. So let's see if that adds up. Let's go back to here. We're gonna look at Carnitas Tacos. So Carnitas Tacos, we're gonna go all the way over. We're gonna see it has about 31 grams of fat, 95 grams of carbs, and 48 grams of protein. Does that align with what this is in here? It does, that's great. So somebody's already inputted this from the nutritional menu. So I'll go ahead and add that. Boom, done. So that is how to add something from a menu. Keep in mind that not every restaurant is gonna have a menu, so just do your best to estimate and to figure out what the closest options are. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. And so if you continue to go to that place, just consistently add the same item. These are just a couple extra tips I have for you in terms of using MyFitnessPal and logging your food. It can be really tedious to add your food up throughout the day. So like let's say, you're gonna make an egg scramble, you crack your eggs, you add your eggs, you add your veggies, you add your veggies, you add your cheese, you add your cheese. This is gonna cause a lot of friction within the process of tracking your food. It's better just to write out the measurements of what you're eating beforehand. So for your egg scramble, you're gonna do 3 eggs, half a cup of peppers, and some cheese. You're gonna write it in like a notes app, or you can even write it down, it doesn't matter. You're gonna write that out, and then maybe while you're eating, or even at the end of the day, you're gonna go in and log all of your foods into MyFitnessPal all at once. That's gonna save you a lot of time, and typically this is a lot better if you can log your foods before. I'm saying like the day before. So tomorrow I know that I'm gonna eat yogurt bowl for breakfast, protein bar, protein shake, probably have chicken and rice for lunch, and then something for dinner. I'm gonna log as much of that as possible so that I'm ahead of the game when that time comes, using all the same exact measurements, if that makes sense. Another tip is to reverse log if you need to. So let's say you're going out for lunch at Uncle Julio's tomorrow, and you don't know what you want to eat throughout the day in order to kind of hit your macros while still eating out. You're gonna go ahead and enter in that Carnitas Tacos first, and you're gonna see how many macros you have left. So that's why it's super important to front load your protein and to save calories for that extra meal, because you're playing around with fitting your macros around that meal. Everything's good in moderation. I don't think that you should skip those things, but again, it's trying to fit those in within the calorie and macro goal that you are having while sustaining and not being restrictive. And kind of the last thing I'll say is that it's gonna be tough at first. This is a learning curve. Like anything, it takes a while to pick up. It's a skill, it's a tool, it's a mindset almost behind your food. And it's helping you change and draw awareness into your foods, right? At first, it might be really overwhelming. The app interface might take some time getting used to, but just take your time, be patient with it, and it will get a lot easier the more you enter in and the more consistent you are with it. Last thing I'll say is that always remember that tracking your food isn't forever. You're doing this for however long you're doing it, and the goal here is to lead to intuitive eating. So it's helping you draw awareness and helping you recognize the density within the foods that you regularly consume, as well as eating out. And helping you draw awareness into what you're putting into your body. It's important to understand the composition and how we can kind of play around with the portion sizes and food selection, and really getting a good grip of understanding what we're putting into our body without having to track it. So that's the goal eventually, is intuitive eating, being able to eat on the go, being able to track your progress without having to metrically track everything into MyFitnessPal. Learn how to track your food and learn how to use MyFitnessPal once, so that you never have to track your food ever again.